The first 40 minutes to an hour of Raw was just John Cena glaze, and I'm not even mad at it because my boy won the IC title. But before we get to that, they announced that at Saturday Night's main event, the day that John Cena retires, is going to be main roster versus NXT. And I'm not going to lie, that's funny. I remember that one episode of, was it Raw? I think it was Raw, after they went to Saudi Arabia, or they got stuck on a flight, and then it was stuck between main roster and then NXT. We had Adam Cole versus Seth or something like that. It was a whole bunch of bangers, but we getting that on Saturday Night's main event. That's finna cook. But then Dom comes out. He's like, "Yo, we ain't trying to hit this. My deadbeat cut me off. What you gonna do about it, Triple H?" And then John Cena's like, whoa, wait a minute. Do you know who you talking to? Like, bro, you know who I am? He's Super Cena. Like, come on, bro. I'm in Boston. I'm untouchable, literally. And then we get the IC title match. He tried to cheat. The ref that's on 1 HP, he gets knocked out, of course, but somehow, still, some way, Super Cena still came out with the win. And my guy is the IC champion. My guy is a Grand Slam champ. You know, when people like fantasy book this happening and saying, yeah, he's going to do it. I thought, maybe not. I didn't really think it was going to happen. It was one of those where it's like, I don't really see it, especially with like 4 appearances left, but they just did it. they just pulled the trigger. I didn't expect it. I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect it to happen, but I'm not complaining about it either. And he's most likely gonna go into Saturday Night's main event as champion, unless he loses it next week. He's gonna be on Raw next week, so maybe he just loses it next week. But I don't think so. He's probably gonna hold it until his retirement, and then whoever wins, which we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But yeah, shout out John, Grand Slam champ, great moment. That's my goat. And then we had this John Cena tournament matches. Might as well talk about both. We had Rusev versus Damian Priest. Rusev came out to win. He did try to gouge his eyes out, but it was clean. It was both clean matches, no shenanigans. Granted, like I said, Rusev did kind of play at his eye a little bit, try to gouge it out, but other than that, it was mostly clean. And then Sheamus versus Shinsuke. Sheamus came out with the win. Both pretty good matches. But we got to talk about next week, though. Next week, we're getting Javon. So when I saw that, I said, oh, Javon Evans is getting a match on Raw next week? Okay. MSG, the biggest, place a Raw can go? Okay. I see the vision. But then they say he's fighting Gunther. Bro, that I'm just at a loss for words, bro. Like, that's a free win for Gunther. Like, don't get me wrong. The match is finna cook. This match is finna be great. Don't get me wrong. Probably match of the night. But why? Why? Like, you couldn't have just put him against Solo or something, make the illusion that he has a chance of moving on. Gunther is not losing. The only way Gunther loses if it's through like shenanigans and his next rival comes out and just makes him lose the match. Like, he's not losing to Javon Evans on a random Raw. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Javon, I love you, bro. You're my guy. You about to get cooked. And then the other match is Solo versus another mystery opponent. Again, I don't know who this could be. It could just be a returning guy. It could be TNA, maybe even AAA. Probably the least likely because there's no one really on AAA that people really know that much. Besides like Mr. Iguana, but I don't see him being in a tournament for John Cena's last match. I don't see that happening, but there's either a returning guy or TNA. But either way, they're probably getting the win. The fact of keeping it a mystery probably means you're gonna make them win. So Solo, I'm sorry. And then after that, we had the Punk segment. He comes out, calls out Logan Paul. Logan Paul comes out. He starts yapping. The Vision comes out. They start yapping. Whole lot of yapping. They surround the ring. Jay comes out, right? I'm thinking, okay, we're starting War Games. This is the start of War Games build. So Roman about to come out. No. Cody comes out. And I'm like, Cody, wow, why is Cody getting involved in this? He has nothing to do with anything involved with the storyline at all. He just came out. I don't know where this came from. I'm going to be honest. What does Cody have to do with anything with this entire feud? Like, the only connection I can make is with Jay, but like, you know, like what does he have to do with anything? Like, so the presumable team is Cody, Punk, Jay. I can guess Roman, and either Jimmy or LA Knight. But like, before this whole Cody thing, I just assumed we're getting Punk, Jay, Roman, Jimmy, LA Knight, because that makes sense. Those five have been involved with this entire Vision storyline since the beginning, right? But then when Cody gets inserted into this for no reason, one of those two is getting kicked out. And I have a sneaky suspicion it's probably LA Knight. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But maybe I'm wrong. But either way, it's just like, really? Like, okay. And I guess it's going to be Braun, Cena, and Logan Paul versus two other people. So it's like, I can assume one of them is Drew because of Cody, but like, what does Drew have to do anything with the Vision? So it's like, what sense does that make? I don't know. And then who knows what that last guy is going to be? Whether it's Brock, he kind of makes sense because of Paul Heyman, and maybe people are talking about Austin Theory, but like, I guess, but I wouldn't really count on it too much. But I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. This whole like storyline is kind of making less and less sense the more I think about it, but I'm gonna let it ride, especially because William Regal came out and said the thing. So I'm gonna let it cook for now, but I'm not gonna lie, I have some kind of some pushback a little bit, but you know what I mean, a little pushback, and especially with the other one too. We're gonna talk about the other one in a minute, but yeah. Then we had Stephanie and Raquel. Another pretty solid match. But after the match, we got a heel turn. Nikki Bella turned heel. You know, I kind of like it. You know, it was kind of obvious the way if you thought about it. It wasn't like she's clearly turning heel, but like, you know, showed hints, slow build. It wasn't too long. They weren't like teasing it for 5 months and then they just pulled the trigger. And like, no, you saw a little couple hints, then they did it. Love that. And Nikki Bella's always better as a heel, so let her cook. Should she win the title? Probably not. But, you know, I like to see some fresh faces in the main event scene now, especially considering like all the other top people are involved with War Games. So, speaking of War Games, let's just talk about it. Right, we had the Kabuki Warriors versus Flair and Bliss, Shenanigans, aka Lash Legend, and Nia Jax. We got new champs. So, look at that. But then that just sets up War Games. Io comes out, Rhea comes out. And now my entire problem for this build is like, okay, you have Flair and Bliss versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax. And then you have Kabuki versus Io and Rhea. Fine. But that's 4. There's still one more for each side. And it's probably going to be Becky for Team Heel and AJ Lee for Team Rio. But like at that point, there's just 3 separate storylines in one. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, maybe I'm tripping. Am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. But like the whole point of War Games is just one interconnected story. The stories aren't really connected whatsoever. Like fine, I guess you can say the Kabuki Warriors and Flair and Bliss are kind of mixed together now because they just lost the title, I guess. But like, is it really? You know, like what does the Kabuki Warriors and Lash Legend and Nia have to do with anything being together? I don't know. Kind of feels a little lazy. Kind of feels like they're having it for the sake of having it. But match is finna be a banger. But Raw, I enjoyed it. 2 title changes, a heel turn, two War Games builds, even though they're both kind of starting to make less and less sense. Kind of feel like they're just having it for the sake of having it. But I enjoyed Raw. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I enjoyed it. Raw cooked. Have a good day.